Blog Talk Radio.
Watch your mouth. Welcome to the war room. We got Dev, Kill, Jimmy, PJ, B. Austin, the hot block commander. How you want it in a 1 or 2 hour show to keep the brain running with the premise to talk sports on a national level. Bold with the topic, sorta like the rebels when it's game time. They like the Fab Five during prime time. Sports conglomerates speak their minds a little bit. For sports medicine and sports veterans and greats. The 4th of 26 or the war in Kuwait. It's the war room with 5 nights at the round table. 5 Philly guys diversified and educated.
What up? What up? What's good, War Room family? You're once again live in the War Room, brought to you by War Room Sports on the War Room Sports Podcast Network. I'm one of your hosts. I'm Dev McMillan. I'm at the round table with my guys. Right now, it's just my guy, my Aki. We got B. Austin in the building. Jimmy the Blueprint will be with us in just a few minutes. Look, that NBA draft is now behind us, and now we're going to focus on free agency, which starts on Sunday. So we'll discuss the rumors along with everything else happening in the world of sports. So make sure you keep it locked right here with your homies for the next 2. And if you want to get in on the conversation, all you got to do is sign in right now to the JW Philly Realty chat room. That's at blogtalkradio.com/the War Room, or you could join us on Facebook or Twitter at War Room Sports. You can also call us directly in about 5 minutes when we open up the Digital Extreme Tech Hotline. If you're new to the show, shame on you, but that number is 323-410-0012. Before we get started, make sure during the week when we're not live on the air that you check out archive episodes of our show and all of our sister shows on the War Room Sports Podcast Network. You can do that at the hub, warroomsports.com, the War Room Sports mobile app, iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spreaker, Blog Talk Radio, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Breaker. You get the idea, man. Wherever the hell you listen to podcasts, we are bound to be there. Just type in the War Room. If you're going to listen to us, type in War Room Sports or War Room Sports Podcast Network if you want to listen to all of the other great shows on the network, such as the Broad Street Line. Shout out to Chris and Roy. They've been holding that down for years. One of the best podcasts out there, if you ask me. Then you got the Tissue and the Tape hip hop show for all you hip hop heads out there, man. Check out Philmatic 365 and Savad. Man, they break it down only like hip hop purists can. So make sure you check that out as well. After further review with the mayor, we got a few more, man. We got the NFL show and the college football show with Fred Purdue. Just check out the network, man. You will love what you hear. But what up, man? What up, Aki? Yo, I gotta ask you a question real quick, man, before we get started. Because most of the time we start the show, since your president always does or says something crazy the week before, we gotta address it before we get started, man. Have you ever heard of a rapist having a type? Because another sexual assault. Some of them are sexual harassment, sexual. This is a sexual assault allegation, B.
What's wrong with your man?
Yo, this is yet another sexual assault allegation on our president. If you're keeping count, they got to be like 18 or 19. This is a shame. What kind of person we here in America allow in our top office, but that's another story altogether. But when confronted about it, he basically just razzed on the woman's appearance and said, look at her, she's not my type. Like, okay.
Yo.
So what does she have to look like for you to rape her? Like, no, I didn't. When I didn't touch her, she's not my type. He's talking about how ugly she is. But, of course, people called his bluff, dug up a photo of he and her hugged up back in the day. But still, that's besides the point. Like, are you going to deny raping the woman? Or are you just going to say that she's not my type? Because I'm wondering what type she has to be for you to take the draws. Like, I don't get what people allow this dude to get away with.
Yo, and I'm sure some of our
friends with psychology degrees, our folks that are part of the feminist movement are going to at some point chime in on this subject to let us know, which I'm sure you already know, that rape has nothing to do with sexual attractiveness and everything to do with exerting and exercising your power to take someone's free will away from them in a physical manner. Like, it ain't got to do with what she looks like. Yo, he is out of complete pocket.
Yeah, pretty much. That's all I got, man. It's always the wow factor with dude. I mean, we knew from day one that this was going to be, if nothing else, the most entertaining presidency we've ever seen in our lives. So, Godspeed to everybody out there who's affected by his actual policies. And we don't mean to laugh and get entertainment at your expense because, you might not be having too good of a time here, but we knew what Biff was all about when we voted Biff in. All right, man, so let's get into some hot topics, man, because that's what we're here to do. And hot topics are brought to you by MyBookie War Room. Let's talk a minute about how much money you can make sports betting at MyBookie. MLB action goes down nightly. Hey, and if you catch the right game during the day as well. I was watching me a 105 tilt this afternoon. But if you still haven't checked out MyBookie, I don't know what you're waiting for, man. Y'all can lay down some cash on the biggest games in sports. You can join the War Room and thousands of other online players placing bets at mybookie.ag. If you guys are tired of getting a runaround from those other services when it's time to get paid, that's why we urge you to give MyBookie a try. You win, they pay, quick, fast, in a hurry, no hassles. You're basically wasting your time sports betting anywhere else. They even have in-game live betting, so you can place wagers after the game start. And if prop betting is your thing, you can do that as well. So join now. MyBookie will match your first deposit up to $1,000. Just use the promo code WARROOM, all caps, WARROOM, to activate this offer. Visit mybookie.ag today. Play, win, get paid, period. All right, so, the NBA draft went down last week. Of course, if you were with us last week, we had some technical difficulties, but by the time we got back on the air and was able to go live, we were able to, get some of the picks live before we got off the air. It went how everybody basically expected it to go. You had the first three picks and then you had everybody else. Not saying that to say that the draft wasn't deep in talent, but we just knew what the first three were hitting for. And then after that, everything was kind of up in the air as far as where people were going to be placed. The biggest thing that I've taken out of it is just watching, listening, doing what I do with sports fans every week on social media. The wardrobes of these players was a big deal to everybody. And a lot of people I've heard say this is the best dressed class that they've ever seen. And that's the thing. Of course, a lot of people try to be different. You had some crazy colors out there. You had your man Bol with a spider web pattern on his suit. Probably messed up his draft stock considering he had to wait until pick number 44, even though he was invited to and sat in the green room. How embarrassing was that? It's like the janitor's cleaning up the green room, telling you to pick your feet up when he's sweeping. And you still
in there with a Spider-Man suit on.
Right. And he was once considered a top 5 pick in this class and slipped all the way down to 44. Like, do you think people were that afraid of his foot injuries or what? What did you think this was? Did Greg Oden scare everybody away?
Yeah, not just Greg. It was a combination of a couple things. Number one, it was the foot injury. And big men with bad feet, historically, that doesn't go away. It rears its ugly head at some point in the career and cuts it short, cuts effectiveness short. So I think that's kind of what people were looking at there. That's one. Two, he was pretty good in college, but not particularly dominant. So, you know, I foresaw slide, and it was due to injury. It was.
But do
so
you think maybe
injury,
the novelty of Bobo may have worn off a little bit? You know, Manute's son,
Definitely.
7'2", can handle and shoot and all that kind of stuff, but he's still rail thin with injuries. So, you know, that kind of stuff can kind of wear the novelty off a little bit.
He was lighter than some of the guards.
And he had that Kevin Durant issue with the bench presses, but, you know, how'd that work out for KD? Not saying he's KD, but how'd that work out for him? People talking about bench pressing, you know, weights, but Kevin Durant got more range than most people in the game. We're not bench pressing out here. We shooting basketballs. And we're playing in an era where post play is at a minimum. So I don't even know why they have you bench pressing at the combine anymore. Bench press for who?
Like 6 foot post players in the league, and 2 of them are guards.
It's like we standing around the perimeter these days, launching, taking turns. So bench press what? Like for who, for what? Just a couple of highlights, you know, from the draft. I was wondering what Cleveland was kind of doing. With the 5th pick, they took guard Darius Garland from Vanderbilt. 6'3" guard, but they just drafted Colin Sexton with their pick last year. I mean, I kind of heard that the pick was up, you know, on the trading block before they made it, but they kind of ran out of time. So now I'm wondering, now that they took him, because they took a best player available type approach, I'm wondering what now? You know, now that they have these 2 guys, are they going to try to duplicate the Portland backcourt, where, you know, you got a 6'2" point guard and a 6'3", maybe 6'3.5" shooting guard. Everybody doesn't get lucky like that, but, you know, these 2 guys are talented. So, you know, is that what we're going to do? What's your thoughts on that?
I don't know what Cleveland does at this point to bounce back from losing LeBron, and I'm not sure what their front office is doing, because they lost a talent in the front office as well, and that shows. I'm not sure what their angle is. I don't know.
Yeah, it was kind of weird to me, because later in the draft they took another ball handling guard. So I'm like, you know, Cleveland. I really don't understand their angle. I mean, and they don't seem like a team to me who's in a position for those best player available type drafts. Like, y'all got needs. Like, fill those needs. So I'll do a quick recap of the top 10, because we did so many mocks of the top 10 leading up to it. We saw so many, we read so many, and, you know, did a couple of them ourselves. Of course, the number 1 pick was Zion Williamson to the New Orleans Pelicans. Fly Pelicans. The Grizzlies took Ja Morant, point guard, Murray State at number 2. At number 3, the Knicks take shooting guard from Duke, R.J. Barrett, who's already saying, when they're interviewing him, they're talking about him and Zion. And he's talking about how good, you know, we're great friends at this point, and, you know, maybe someday down the line I'll recruit him to come here and play with me. So they're talking about this already. They didn't even start their rookie contracts, and they're already recruiting each other to play together. They're already trying to AAU up. And then, you know, they're a long way away from, you know, free agency. It's just the time
Zion, this is RJ. You think you could come out and play with me, and maybe we get our old team playing NBA?
Yeah.
Yo, these new ninjas, I can't.
Yeah. What else? At number 4, the Hawks took DeAndre Hunter, forward from Virginia. At 5, like we already mentioned, Cleveland took Darius Garland, point guard from Vanderbilt. At number 6, the Suns took Jarrett Culver, shooting guard, Texas Tech. At number 7, the Bulls took point guard Kobe White from North Carolina. At 8, the Pelicans again picked Jackson Hayes, center, Texas. Number 9, the Wizards took I never could say his name, even when he was playing in Gonzaga. Hachimura from Gonzaga went to the Wizards. And rounding out the top 10 was Cam Reddish from Duke. He went to the Atlanta Hawks as well. So the Atlanta Hawks is a young team that's putting together some nice talent, at least on paper. We just have to see how these guys gel and how they play once they get on that NBA court. Trae Young is already there. He's already proven that he can play at a high clip at this particular level. He has help coming. They're going to be a young, up-and-coming team. We don't know in today's professional sports landscape if teams, front offices have the patience anymore to be young and upcoming teams, but they have one down there in the big GA. One other thing that I heard a lot of fans talking about, they were saying this draft definitely debunked the myth of the black father, because a lot of these dudes were there with their pops, and I guess when it comes to this type of thing, it wasn't necessarily a myth. It's just a whole different generation. It's like when we were growing up, a lot of these dudes didn't have fathers in their lives. A lot of these dudes came from single parent households, single mom households to be more specific. A lot of these dudes came from very poor backgrounds, came from nothing. It's different now because the AAU circuit, which isn't cheap, like it's hard to be broke and play AAU unless you're just the next phenom and everybody's done everything for you. But it's a different crop these days. You know what I'm saying? You do have the crop, the two-parent households, the middle class, the upper middle class. Shoot, these days a lot of NBA players who have sons coming up through the system. So it's kind of a change in the cycle of what we see in the draft and what we see in the NBA. And it's refreshing because, you are tired of seeing the same old stereotypes get talked about all the time. Yeah, let's talk about somebody in their family for a change instead of, he was raised by his mama, he was raised by his grandmama, she made $14 a week, and he slept in a room with 6 brothers and sisters. Like you tired of hearing those Tony Stark's all we need stories.
No,
all that I got is you stories.
Because it ain't funny, but it is funny. And at a certain point, unless you have a strong mind and a strong upbringing and raising, and even sometimes with those things, you start to buy into those narratives, even if it isn't your life, and believe that that's them or that's us or that. So, man, kudos to seeing black fathers at the NBA draft. Maybe next time we'll see black fathers in Silicon Valley, but that's a whole nother topic and story, man.
No doubt. All right, so a quick NBA draft recap, and before we move on, I see the phone lines are blowing up, so let's go to the phone lines real quick. We got the homie Tobias calling all the way over from Arizona. Tobias, what's going on? Old damn time.
What's going on? Hey, what's going on?
What up?
I gotta say, I survived getting yelled at by court. I got my T-shirt.
Yo, I don't know if you saw my message. I was like, man, I'm waiting to see what they do to you when you actually say something negative about LeBron. Like, they jumped on you. They jumped on you crazy for no reason. It's all good, though. So what's up, Tobias? All right, where the hell is Tobias?
Where'd Tobias go?
I don't know. He got snatched up.
We'll get him back.
All right, call back in, Tobias. Call back in, big homie. All right, we got the homie Rob calling in from out in California. It's a good day for Rob and Lakers fans. What's up, Rob? What's going on?
Man, what's up, man? How y'all doing, man? How y'all feeling, man?
Yo,
AKA
piano or something? What was that?
Yo, it's your boy Rob, a.k.a. Summertime Funk, man. Yo, it's your boy Rob, a.k.a. Mr. Slip and Slide. Yo, what's good, man? How y'all doing, man? It's a hot day in Philly. How y'all doing, man?
Pretty good, yeah. It's a little heated over here on the East Coast. About 90, 92, 93 today. It's crazy. But what's up with you? What did you think about the NBA draft? How'd you think your squad traded their pick, but I guess it's all good because you got the big brow in return. But what's up? What's up? We got a couple of minutes. What you want to talk about?
I'm going to hit this real quick. I'm going to hit this, and I want to talk about something serious. But, okay, man. What I feel about the draft was, first of all, I was kind of livid with the trade. I'm like, to be honest, I would have kept Lonzo and let Kuzma and Ingram go because, I want a point guard because you still have LeBron, who's like, LeBron's 35. And after 3 years, he's done. And so we're going to have after. If you would have kept Lonzo instead of kept Kuzma, you still can do the pick and roll with, you can do the pick and roll with, Anthony Davis and Lonzo. You still get that point guard that can pull it all together. But, we'll never know. That's
I agree with you, Rob. B don't believe in Lonzo. I think Lonzo is a baller. But, I definitely agree with that. I mean, Kuz, I like Kuz. Kuz is my man, but Kuz is a one-trick pony, and his trick is just not hard to find in the NBA. He wouldn't be that hard to replace. The only thing about his trick is the fact that he's so young and he has so much confidence already, especially playing with, a superstar on the level of LeBron. A lot of dudes like to sit back and just watch, and Kuz wasn't about that sit back and watch life. But I just think Lonzo brings so much more to the game than that you need. Like, Kuz is a modern day Chris Gatling. He who? Huh? What'd you say?
I said he brings that big baller brand to the game. I mean, I see that.
No, Lonzo separated himself from big baller brand. So you might like him even more because, he ain't banging with his pop ball like that. Not on the business tip, at least. He's on a mission, he says, to be his own man. But his all around game, like I keep telling people, a lot of people they sleep on his level of defense especially being a second year player in the NBA and what they miss when he went out. Because you really, like, you look at a player like Lonzo B, and that's not really where you expect his bread to be buttered. Like, you look at him, he got the little skinny legs and, a little thin balls. You don't expect him to be locking up. And Lonzo was out there playing some very good defense. And that's the side of the game that a lot of people don't look at. So Kuz is more exciting to a lot of people because he's going to put the ball up. Like I say, he's Chris Gatling 3.0. He can come off your bench and give you numbers. He can get in your starting up and give you numbers, but he's not going to do much in the way of anything else to help the team win. Not a knock, because I'm a Kuz fan, but I would have tried hard to keep Lonzo too. But smart executives like Griffin know this. So I'm pretty sure Griffin didn't even ask, I'm sure he asked for Kuz. He probably asked for all of them. And then it came down to one or the other. And, he ended up with Lonzo. And I think that was a great move for the Pelicans because they're putting together a nice little young roster as well. But what else, Rob?
Yeah, they still got Randall there. They got amazing backcourt. All they need is a front court. But I don't see Randall staying.
I don't see Randall staying. At this point, Zion and Randall might damn near be the same player, just with a different level of excitement, a different level of put asses in the seat isms. But I don't see Randall sticking around. When free agency starts, I think Randall going to be on his way.
Randall's trying to get some dollars.
If Brandon Ingram is healthy, because remember he had some blood clot issues. That's been known to stop a career. We're still talking about his potential. Shoot, he got an injury that's potentially it. But you got him, you got Zoe, you got Zion, you got Drew Holiday. Where I hear some rumblings he might want out of the situation. But for now, you got a nice little bit of talent down there. All right, so what else, Rob? We got to hurry up because we got some other callers on here.
All right. All right. First of all, shout out to the nerd that always be trolling me. Somebody said you was a Dolphins fan 6 years ago, but that's none of my business. Now on to this election. He knows he's talking about the nerd. The nerd. I'm gonna call him the nerd. The nerd from Florida. That's all I gotta say.
Okay, I got you. Somebody put him on blast. He was a Dolphins fan 6 years ago.
Yeah, I was like, wow, that's all I need to know. It's all good. That's all I need to know. But
that's all I need.
But on the real, okay, the elections is coming up. I think everybody, all black people, need to become politically conscious of the upcoming election, and to talk to three things. One, if you're for black folk who saying, I don't really care about immigrants or whatever, this country taking all our jobs, just remember the great Marcus Messiah Garvey was a Jamaican immigrant that came over here, and you know the rest. So if you ain't down with immigration, good for you. Throw Marcus Garvey out, and we can call you a sellout and sell out. That's all I gotta say. Second thing, as far as what comes to reparations, I just treat reparations as like an NBA contract or a professional contract. Ask for more. Ask for what you're more than what we're worth. You know what I'm saying? Not just a check. Ask for some land. Money by itself doesn't bring wealth. Resources.
It wouldn't be. That's the thing, though. Like we all screaming about reparations. We're screaming about a check. Like, it's a lot of black people, a lot of descendants of slaves. It's going to be difficult, first of all, to, track everybody, make sure everybody is getting the check they're supposed to. But there's going to be so many people, there ain't going to be that much money to go around. So they're going to end up doing something, and then everybody going to get like $26, and then we're still going to be mad. So, I don't know. Yeah, you're right. We need to do more than just a check. Something else got to happen here. You know what I mean? We need a smorgasbord of things. Give us a check. Pay off our student loans, give us a piece of land, excuse our mortgages. Like, come on. You got to do something more than just a check.
Yeah, exactly. Like, people scream out check. I'm like, y'all do know, it's like y'all do know wealth is not just it's based on money alone. You know what I'm saying? That the real money is really in gold. That's another conversation. I wish Jimmy was here, dang it. And B also keep timing on here too, man. You quiet in the back.
Yeah, I'm letting you rock. I'm letting you rock, bro. I don't want to disrespect the Lakers too much. And then also the voting, as far as voting is concerned, I understand your political leanings, brother, but I think, my feelings, I don't believe we can ever change a system that was built to oppress and destroy us to begin with. All we can do is cope. So until we create the link back to another continent, I mean, this is all just an exercise in futility, if you ask me.
I tire of hearing that the system is broken and this and that. The system is working fine. The system is a well-oiled machine. The system is working how it was intended to work.
Exactly.
A lot of us can't get it through our minds that the system wasn't built with with us prospering in mind. So, all the struggles, this is what it was supposed to be. So, and a lot of us do a great job of coping in a system that's built against us. But
there still needs something to be done. Like, I understand people want to scream, like, who are not people who are the hoteps, who are not obnoxiously ignorant. They want to scream, I go vote for Democrats this, Democrat that. But the Democrats took part of the House, and as you see, with pressure from the outside, we see that reparations is on the forefront. You know what I'm saying? With pressure, the Civil Rights Bill was passed. With pressure, the desegregation laws began in World War II. With pressure, the 13th Amendment was passed. We have to keep pressuring our presidents and lands, and our presidents and our political candidates, and take control of our local government first and foremost. But even with a candidate like Bernie Sanders, who I favor of, he doesn't really have a good foreign policy. And when the Arabic Muslim brothers and sisters actually pressure him on the last couple of years, 4 years, I would say 5 years, his tone changed, everything changed. So we still got to keep the fight, got to keep going on. I understand that this nation was not built for us, that we can be like the Bolshevik Russians and take the whole thing, the communists, and take the whole thing over. But that's not really our game right now. We need to be a political strategist and do what we can to maneuver around the system.
I just don't want people to be fooled into thinking that the fight will ever be over. Like, as long as we're here, our lives are going to be a fight. You know what I mean? That's just what it is. All right, but Rob, we gotta roll, man. We got some other people waiting as usual. Thanks for your call, good brother.
And I hope Jimmy Butler stays, man, with the Sixers, man. And I hope Kawhi come back home, baby. That's all I gotta say.
All right, peace.
Kawhi.
We'll talk about that in a little while. Let's go back to Tobias. Let's get him back on. What's up, Tobias?
Sorry, my Obama phone dropped there. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I was talking about the NBA, right? Zion, they putting all this pressure on this guy, and I look at him shoot a jumper. He's shooting a set shot. He ain't even jumping. And so he has so much room to grow in his game, and people act like they won't give this guy room to grow. Now they talking about the Pelicans, the sleeper playoff team. I'm like, he's 18 years old, right? LeBron was probably the best young guy to come in ever at that age, and they still didn't make the playoffs. Can we just let these kids grow their game first?
And LeBron had Ricky Davis. According to Ricky, he's the best player in the league. LeBron was coming there to help him out. Ricky Davis, that's crazy.
and now you're talking. And now, what happens is these pundits on TV, they talk Lakers free agency. You got idiots that overrated GM in Houston want Jimmy Butler. If Chris Paul don't want to watch James Harden dribble, what the hell do you think Jimmy Butler's going to do? Jimmy stayed in Philly because Philly's going to pay him, which is smart. But the Lakers, they get D'Angelo Russell. I'm like, people, have you watched the NBA for the past 15 years LeBron been in? He's the point guard. If you want someone to play that position, you need to get Patrick Beverly, someone who can hit the open jumper, doesn't need the ball. D'Angelo Russell needs the ball. Kemba Walker needs the ball. LeBron's the point guard. It kills me how they just throw these names at the hat like it's 2K. But LeBron needs the ball. So you have to have players that complement him. It ain't NBA 2K, and it kills me how people just think that.
Yeah, I think he throw some names together, and this is going to be that easy. I mean, they kind of showed us that back in 2010 when, when LeBron and the boys got together on the Heat, and they thought it was going to run off a slew of championships, and they saw how difficult that was. Like, you have names, you have talent. That's why some coaches, they get negativity thrown their way. Like, I hear people still kind of diminishing Phil Jackson's accomplishments because, he always had Michael and Scotty and Kobe and Shaq and Kobe and whoever. But it's not just cliche that it takes a pretty good coach to massage egos and get people to play together and get people to defer where they need to defer. It's hard to just throw some names together. I mean, in the playground, that's usually the way to do it. The most talented teams can get it done, but, NBA, everybody's pretty much talented. And it's difficult to just throw people together. And I thought, that whole time, I was thinking, man, I'm watching this press conference, watching them say not one, not two, not three. I'm like, they straight up disrespecting the NBA right now. And they kind of got hit hard with it. At that time, LeBron was so starved for a championship. Just getting 2 out of that lineup was the greatest thing ever because he just needed to get off the schneid. But really, when you look back on that,
it was a failure.
I don't want to be one of them people where people start attacking me for being objective and stating my opinion, but that was kind of a failure.
They failed
in the bigger scheme of things. That was kind of a failure. Championship
because they should have 3. Honestly, it could have had 3 realistically, but at the same time, what if game? They only should have had 1. To be honest with you, you know, that's just how sports work out. But at the same time,
could have had 3, could have had 1. Ended up in the middle.
It's just how it works out. And people out there, we're not saying LeBron's not a great player. He's one of the 5 best players, depending on what you rank him as. He is a great player. He's a great father. He's a great member of the black community. All that good stuff, right? All right, now as we were saying, you know.
We have to throw that out there, man. I'm telling you. Because the Brownies will attack you if you don't praise him enough. So we got to, take a minute to
yeah.
It's difficult, man. It's difficult these days trying to be the objective voice of reason because if you don't jock somebody too hard, people are upset with you. If you compliment somebody else too much, people are upset with you. So shaky ground.
It's crazy how it works out. It's so crazy, and it's like everybody talking about all these players. I'm like, you don't need to have 3 or 4 all-star max level players. Honestly, you need 2. It's the right 2, but the problem with the Lakers trying to add a guy in D'Angelo Russell, the 3 best players on the team ain't the same age. But also, if you that hell-bent on keeping Kuzma out of that trade, you was that hell-bent, maybe you should let him be the 3rd guy. Show him that, hey, he believes. If he's that hell-bent.
But that's the thing. If you don't blow the rest of that salary cap on a 3rd big-name free agent and just mix in some good mid-level veterans, that team can be devastating. But everybody's so greedy. Everybody got to have a big 3. Everybody got to have a super team. Super teams, a lot of times are just on paper because, there's been a lot of super teams that failed. The Lakers with Nash, Kobe, and Dwight, they failed. I mean, I always go back to them like I wish we would have got a chance to see them in the playoffs, though, because at the end of that season, Kobe was starting to play on another level until, that Achilles injury. And I think their first-round opponents dodged a bullet because I think they might have finally started to come into their own. But, in the grand scheme of things, that was a failure. There was success in Miami, but just like we said, like when that team got together, they were supposed to run off like 6. Who else can we think of?
You remember that Houston team with Pippen, Joy, Barkley, and Dream? They were older, and that didn't work out.
Yeah. I mean, it worked out as best as it could because those dudes were old and chip chasing. Like they did some amazing things to be that old, but in the grand scheme of things, didn't work out. So it's not that easy. Like maybe you switch up the formula a little bit and do more on the mid-level side of things. And you might be able to get a better mix of defenders, some scorers off the bench, a scorer, and your starting lineup. I don't know. I just think people go about this all wrong.
And I know you got to run. I'll say 2 quick things. Like we were talking about just having like not just a super team, it's because in this era of load management, where LeBron and AD gonna sit some games out, who you gonna put in there? And also the fact is that usually Golden State, those guys are around the same age. So their peaks and their decline when they get older at the same time. LeBron may fall off this year. Yeah, he put up 28 and 8, but he wasn't the same guy as he was 2 years ago. Not saying he wasn't great like Kobe was. He was killing that last year, but he wasn't the same Kobe.
Right. It was the stats were there for both of them, for Kobe and LeBron, but the impact wasn't there.
Yes.
The way it used to be there.
And that's okay. So my thing is that usually these teams come, like the one in Miami, they were the same age. But the problem was that you had no money to flesh out the rest of that team. But only so many guys are going to be old and say, hey, I'll take $1 million to go for a ring. Because newsflash, people, except for like your top legends out there, most of these players are trying to get paid except their families. Like LeBron type, Jordan, Kobe, they're about the ring because they don't have their money. But most of these other guys like Al Horford, they got to get their money first and foremost. A ring is a ring. And so they're gonna be better off trying to use that money to flesh out the team instead of hoping for some washed up guy to take $1 million to try to go for a ring. And the ring ain't guaranteed because you got the Nuggets out there, the Blazers, all these other Houston. If they intact, if they got
shout out to Boogie
there.
Cousins. Shout out to Boogie Cousins. Thought he was gonna sneak one in before hitting free agency again. Like his free agent, haul hasn't gotten any better since he stepped foot in Golden State last season.
Yo, he definitely hasn't. That did not go as planned for him.
He thought he was gonna go with them, play well, get a ring, and then get a max. Like he ain't nowhere near max right now. It's a shame.
It's crazy. He should have sat out the season. He would have made more money. And also, a player like, I know someone said in the group chat last week, Bol should have sat out the season and not even played a lick. He would have been a top 10 pick. It's crazy how that stuff works out when you don't play compared to when you actually do play.
I believe that about Bol too. I believe that.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know
he
about
was once a top 5 prospect. So if he didn't play, he'd have fell somewhere in the lottery at least. He went from top 10 to not mentioned at all.
I would have taken the second round because you got nothing to lose. I would have taken that because the numbers he put up in those 10 games he played were pretty damn impressive.
Bodyguard versus better than him.
Yeah, because like I'll say this also before I run. The Bulls' first round pick, Kobe White, I was surprised we got him. I'm happy with that pick. The second guy we picked, I have no idea who the hell he is, but he can't be worse than Denzel Valentine. But hey, you guys have a good day, man.
All right, man. Let me talk to you next week.
Shout out to Frank Yiddy. Peace.
All right, so switching gears real quick. Shout out to Molly. Did you hear about the whole thing with the NCAA? California, some California schools could be banned from, potentially be banned from competing in NCAA championships if a bill is passed allowing state college athletes to be compensated. This bill is about basically compensating these kids for the use of their own name, image, likeness, and if it is passed, it would begin in 2023. It easily passed in the state Senate last month, 31-4. So if this bill passes, the NCAA is not, they don't plan to back down on their rules. So if it passes and California allows these in-state athletes, and I think you have to be in-state California athletes, but if it passes and these people are able to capitalize off their likenesses, then the schools could be facing sanctions.
Precedent set.
Right. But at the same time, if these schools don't want to be, subject to these NCAA sanctions, does that mean that these top schools in California are going to stop recruiting people in state? Because, like I said, you have to be an in-state athlete to do this if the bill passes. So is that going to take a hit, or take a toll on who they recruit from home? Like, because they might end up recruiting all their stars from outside the state and maybe rounding out their team with like role players from inside the state who nobody's going to want to do anything with your likeness or your jersey or anything like that. This is a slippery slope. Like you said, precedence is definitely going to be set, but are the schools going to back down from the NCAA? Because the NCAA doesn't seem to be interested in changing their amateur sports rules, even if this bill is passed in California. Thoughts on this?
It's funny you mentioned backing down, because this is going to be such an interesting case. I think that California has a funny culture similar to Texas. Texas does its own thing. Well, so does California in a sense. And if these are state schools, they could receive orders to not back down in the face of the NCAA, as in it's not a decision made at the chancellery level or the presidential level of the university. It could be above them just to essentially champion a cause. It'll be very interesting. If the schools do stand up, I could see this type of thing going all the way to the Supreme Court on a national level, because this is what people have been waiting to see for 20 years, 30 years, our lifetimes. And this would be a monumental step in a positive direction, in my opinion. I know we'll get into the Andre Iguodala interview a little later on another show that probably isn't as good as ours, but gets, a couple of dollars, where he was mentioning, being in college as a college athlete with his jersey selling, being one of the top jerseys on his team, and he had to stretch $10 for 1 week to eat.
Right. And for me, in this case, 23 Division I schools stand to be impacted by this bill, including 4 Pac-12 programs. That's where you get into the big boys, the Pac-12. But for me, we've had this conversation on this show for damn near 9, almost 10 years about college athletes and this and that. And that's the only place I've always drawn the line, because I was never an advocate for, college athletes should get a check. And most of that was because, everybody just said that. Nobody had a decent plan for how it was going to get done. Nobody had a plan for what the lower level athletes and lower level sports that weren't generating any money for the campus, like, were they going to get paid too? Like, people just say things and they're not solution based. So I never heard anything that made complete sense to me. But the place where I drew the line, your likeness should belong to you, like, no matter what. If people are walking around with jerseys with your number or your name, especially, because that's why a lot of colleges try not to put names on the back of their jerseys sometimes, because they know, they can always say, oh, well, you don't know if that number is for you. But if you're on campus and you're a big man on campus, you know, these people are wearing this number 4 because of you and not because of Chris Webber back in 1995. Or before that. But your likeness, that's different, man. If I can make money off my autograph, if we can make money off my jersey sales, if we can put my face on a video game and all that kind of stuff, that should all go to those people who are, no doubt, that should all go to the people who are a part of that. And that would kind of make it easier, because it's like, okay, it's not one big sweeping thing where we're paying everybody. And if you're on a college, sports game, if you're on a video game, then I guess everybody would get a little piece of something. But, the big money is going to go to the more popular people that's generating the cash.
Here's my thing, and we've had this conversation and will likely continue to have this conversation. You and I, we've both been in undergraduate. We've been struggling underclassmen in an undergraduate institution, and I'm not advocating for student athletes to receive a paycheck, nor are you. But there are so many ways that they could compensate collegiate athletes beyond just saying, here's $1,200 for the week because you're playing for our team. There's any number of ways that you could skin the cat, so to speak, including trusts that are paid out, upon graduation, or trusts that are paid out, some years down the line, or there's just a number of ways that the money that's made in collegiate athletics the wealth that's created could be distributed more evenly and trickle down to those that are actually generating it. And I just think it's in one hand it's crazy, but on another hand it's not crazy because it's the way of capitalism. It's the way of the United States. Like, this system is not broke by any stretch of the imagination. Young black boys go to major collegiate institutions, generate billions of dollars, don't get paid for it, and get told they should be thankful for a collegiate education, which, by the way, is dropping in value over the course of the last 20, 30, 40 years.
Is it?
What is a bachelor's degree worth? You know what I'm saying?
We were talking about that the other day, where you got people out here advertising jobs, preferring master's degrees, starting at $15 an hour for a master's degree. Like, what? Don't even put that in the job description. You tripping. Master's degree preferred starts at $15.25 an hour.
Yo. I would get up and pee in the interviewer's cup. But
Navian is I can't even say the word. I'm gonna get in trouble. But you know what Navian doing, people. But
so I feel like to bring this back around to this particular story, I am very, very interested and intrigued into where this will go and who will stand up, because the student athletes really can't stand up and advocate for themselves. So it's got to be the universities make a decision to do so, or the state of California makes a decision to do so. It's going to be a very, very interesting discussion and dialogue, and eventually fight if they choose to take it that far. If they decide to fight, they could shake the world. They literally could shake the world.
Yeah. All right, we'll see how it goes. I wonder what, the O'Bannon case, what bearing that had on this. Because I don't necessarily think the O'Bannon case, I don't think they were just fighting for California state athletes, but I wonder if this had any bearing on this bill that might be passing soon. But we'll see. We'll keep an eye on it. We'll definitely talk about it again. Let's get to our quote of the week, and our quote of the week comes from NBA player, NBA sixth man, until, he had to step forward for Portland at the end of the season, Enes Kanter, the boy that's on the run from the Turkish government right now. He said on the Colin Cowherd show the other day, they were talking about the subject of Zion Williamson came up, and our quote of the week is this. He said, quote, "I kind of feel like he's overhyped. I kind of feel like he's Julius Randle with hops." Do you have an issue with what he was saying? I know I said earlier in the show, I don't think Julius Randle will remain a Pelican because he and Zion at this point seem like they do a lot of the same things. So for me, it kind of sounded like Enes Kanter was definitely taking a shot. I'm not sure at who, at Zion, at Julius, or both. Both. But there's not a lot of lies, at least right now, in what he's saying. You know what I'm saying? Like, he definitely was, because, Enes Kanter is known to talk trash. He's a troll. But
yeah, he's definitely a troll. I love him.
What he's saying right now?
If you are a student of the game, if you take this thing of ours very, very seriously, and you're analyzing their games, they're the same. They're the same player. Like Zion is 1.5. I won't call him 2.0 yet. He's 1.5. Julius Randle is athletic, but not that explosive. Highly skilled. A guy that can play the 1, the 3, and the 4, basically. And I see that role for Zion, a positionless guy that can handle the ball. He's a forward size. He can play in the front court, but he can handle and he can pass.
Play the 1? I wouldn't put Julius Randle at the 1 my life.
I probably jumped the gun with that. But he's, out of the Anthony Mason mold where they let him bring the ball up court, let him go 1v1, break cats down, and things like that. He's not a 1 by any stretch, but you know what I'm saying. He's got a nice little handle to him for a big fella, and I see that in Zion. Zion can jump out of the gym at 385 pounds. You see what I did there, but they do the same things. They definitely do the same things.
At least.
For now. Julius
and it's not
has been working on his outside shot. It's not a knock.
It's not a knock to be a more athletic Julius Randle. Julius Randle averaged 21-9 this past season. He caught wind of the comments and he got a little sensitive on him. So he tweeted out, "Yo, at Inez Cantor, last time you guarded me, I had 45. Relax, bro. LOL." So you know the nerd in me. You know the nerd in me had to go find some even nerdier people, had to find some analytics people. And while it's true that the last time they played against each other, their teams played against each other, Randle dropped 45 points. The Blazers won the game. This is a game in March. However, considering at the time, Inez Cantor, he only played like 20 minutes in that game because he was coming off the bench before their center got hurt. And he only guarded Julius Randle for 2 of those points. So as they would say in the district, Randle sized it a little bit. He sized it a little bit.
Yo, listen.
The last time
I ain't even dissing.
You had 45. But
I ain't dissing Julius Randle.
One bucket.
I ain't dissing Julius Randle. Hopefully he come at me because I'll come right back at him. But who let Julius Randle score 45 on him? He don't seem like a get 45 type of guy. Like I didn't really see that.
Pretty sure that was the only game he's ever gotten it, but I don't know. Julius Randle is talented, man. I'm not even going to say if he gets with the right team, that may not be his last time scoring 45. But my point is, this is your comeback to Cantor. You definitely sized it because we know in an NBA game, nobody's going to get the full brunt of what you do. Kobe spread that 81 around several defenders. Jalen probably got about 29 of it. Mo Pete probably got another 20 something of it. You get sprinkled. You get sprinkled a little bit. But if you're gonna talk trash to somebody because they said your name, you can't say I got 45 and then everybody find out you gave him 2. Like you had to at least give him 19 of that 45 for you to basically say without saying you can't guard me.
Listen.
Even though we know Enes Kanter can't guard anybody because defense is not his thing, but you had to give him at least 19 of those 45 if you're gonna talk like that.
Man, if I drop 45 on the team, I'm saying I dropped 45 on the 13th man that never got dressed.
All y'all got
you caught 45. Everybody caught that 45.
Everybody got a bucket, huh? All right, so shout out to the troll.
Why Kobe gives the Raptors 4 good games at a time?
Yeah, he sprinkled them. And like I said, the Kobe stay trying to diminish that. But one thing the Raptors had back then was good perimeter defenders. So
they did.
That's one thing they may have had was good perimeter defenders.
Mo Pete was one of the original 3-and-D guys. He had a jumper, he had defense, and he had strippers. Those are the 3 things I know that Mo Pete had.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So shout out to Cantor. Shout out to Julius Randle for clapping back with his 45 and a loss. Shout out to him.
What are you doing?
Well, I think the week is not necessarily that. It's more fact. We know the NBA awards were named last week finally. I still don't like what the NBA is doing. You got to wait till after stuff that you pretty much know the results for. Anyway, it's anticlimactic. They're trying to build up so they can have this of a award show. I didn't watch that show for one second. not an exaggeration. I never turned my TV to the NBA award show and fully knew that it was on. It just doesn't interest you. Like, the season is over. They're regular season awards. You know, us and all the other talking heads probably gave our awards out no later than a week after the regular season ended. Remember back in the day, the MVP used to pretty much they used to spread it out throughout the first round, and the MVP would end up getting his award throughout the second round. But now, you know, they want to have an award show. It's just too much. It's too long. A lot of people forget about the award. Like, oh, yeah, they haven't done that yet. Who's MVP? But shout out to Giannis Antetokounmpo, who is the Kia NBA Most Valuable Player. The Rookie of the Year, Luka Doncic from the Mavericks. The Sixth Man Award goes to Lou Willville of the LA Clippers. The Defensive Player of the Year, again, goes to Rudy Gobert. The Kia NBA Most Improved Player, Pascal Siakam from the world champion Toronto Raptors. Coach of the Year, Mike Budenholzer, Milwaukee Bucks. And then you have a bunch of stuff that nobody cares about, like the Teammate of the Year, the Basketball Executive, Sportsmanship. Yeah, those aren't real awards. But look, if you look out of the real awards, and let's take Coach of the Year out. If you look at the Player Awards, B, this is our stat of the week. Like I said, it's not really a stat. It's more like a fact. Everybody's, and you know, the only American-born player to win an award this year was Lou Williams for Sixth Man of the Year. Now, we talked about this a long time ago, how a lot of us think that, you know, the international game is becoming more of the NBA game. These guys are going to end up taking over the NBA game, especially once you mix athleticism with the skill level that they already bring over at such a young age. Because we talked about that a long time, too. It's like in America, your athleticism will take you a long way. It'll take you to NBA superstardom. And you see a lot of people, once that athleticism wears off, they don't really have the skills to sustain their career at a high level. These guys come in, I think, overseas, man. I think they've been playing a more skilled game overseas. Now some of these guys' athleticism is catching up with their level of skill, and they're damn near taking over the NBA, man. Most Valuable Player, Giannis. Rookie of the Year, Luka. Defensive Player of the Year, Rudy Gobert. Pascal Siakam, Most Improved. You know, if they could have got a six-man, you know, they would have had basically a player award sweep. And I'm trying to think right now, like, who are some good foreign six-men who might, you know, jump up in there when
Manu is gone. If Manu was 10 years younger, it'd have been him.
Yeah, so that's interesting, man. Just to see the evolution of the game, because I remember when a lot of those dudes used to come over, we used to harp on how soft they were, and they're just not ready for the physicality and the speed and athleticism of the NBA game. These dudes are coming over and damn near taking over the NBA now. A lot of the stars in the league are not American born. Shoot, the two young stars on our team, the Sixers, aren't American born. You got one from Cameroon, you got one from Australia. It's getting scary, man. It's getting scary. And this is why, for the past several Olympics, you know, we've been sending these NBA dream teams over there, because that's pretty much what we need to win these joints. You got to send like some of the best players in the NBA over there, where, you know, we used to send college athletes. They started getting spanked. Had a couple of NBA teams go over there and get spanked. Shout out to AI and Tim Duncan and Larry Brown and all of them, Melo, Bron, when they were young. But yeah, this was just interesting to me, so I just felt like we needed to mention it at least. But before we get into what happened this week while y'all were on the grind, just want to let you know, as usual, you can check out our website, warroomsports.com. But if you want to call in and speak with us about any of today's topics, just dial the Digital Extreme Tech hotline. That number is 323-410-0012. Press 1 when prompted. But if you're already listening from your phone, just press 1 if you want to holler at you guys. All right. So while y'all were on the grind, it's brought to you by Sports the Book. Speaking of Sports the Book, where the hell is Jimmy? He was supposed to be here a long time ago, but he is still not in the building. But the beat goes on.
Collective bargaining. He wanted a new contract.
He got to talk to you about that. You got to talk to the financial boss. Hook him up. Tell me how that goes. Anyway, while we're on the grind, brought to you by Sports the Book. If you guys are tired of reading the same old sports books with the same old stuff you see on our Facebook page every day, with the lists, the rankings, the imaginary starting lineups, the GOAT debate, the bashing of players to make players look good, the making players look so good so they can bash other players and bite, all that crap, man. If you're tired of all of that subjective stuff going on that's being passed off as factual information, be sure to pick up your copy of Sports. Acronym, people, listen to me. Can you spell? Sports. S-P-O-R-T-S. Smart people only read the sports. This mixture of sports and hip-hop culture will keep you on the edge of your seat, and it'll keep you laughing like you're watching a Netflix comedy special. Netflix, cut the check. So just go to sportsthebook.com and get your copy from our website at warroomsports.com. Wherever you get your copy, just make sure you don't miss that movement. All right. Yo, some bad news out of Astroland in Houston. At an Astros game about a month ago, they were playing the Chicago Cubs in Houston, and a 2-year-old girl got hit in the face by a foul ball. Now, her injuries are just coming out like a month later. She sustained a fractured skull, subdural bleeding, brain contusions, and a brain edema. This is what the family's attorney said on Wednesday. They said her injuries prompted some Major League Baseball teams to re-examine how far the protective netting around home plate, you know, the net that kind of blocks the foul balls from hitting people directly in the first few rows. A lot of teams and organizations and stadiums are now looking into how maybe they can expand that. I mean, for a long time in baseball, one of the allures of going to the game and sitting in certain sections, you take your glove or whatever, you're trying to catch foul balls. But, I mean, people who frequent games, man, sometimes those foul balls be coming at you 90 miles an hour, man. Like the ones that just pop up in the air, even those are dangerous when people aren't looking, because I've seen people not looking, not knowing that a baseball is dropping out of the sky, and bad things can happen there. But it's worse when the foul ball goes off of your bat and doesn't pop up in the air, and it just goes backwards 90 miles an hour. Even if you see it coming, it's hard to get out of the way. And that's what happened in this particular case, man. Cubs outfielder Albert Almora, who hit the line drive into the field level seats on the third base side at Minute Maid Park, man, he was like, when he saw what happened, he had to be consoled. Like he was on the field balling because he thought he damn near killed this little girl. But her injuries are coming out now. I don't know she's been having seizures and all kinds of things like that. I'm pretty sure that Almora and these clubs and Major League Baseball in general are going to get involved, probably with her medical care. I mean, this is me speculating, but I'm just, I'm speculating that somebody or a group of MLB players or the league in general are probably going to get involved in this particular thing. But yeah, they even announced last year before this happened that they were extending the protective netting to at least the far ends of both dugouts. Now, they're looking to see if they can do even more. It's kind of a sad story, man. 2 years old.
Do something happy, man, real quick. We need something happy.
I'd be like, I don't even want to talk about that. Just move on to something happy. Well, this is why you're on the grind. While you're on the grind, usually don't touch on happy topics. It's usually not just these type of topics. It's usually people doing dumb stuff.
Ain't that much happiness in the world these days.
Speaking of people doing dumb stuff, and shout out to the homie who used to call in about 8 years ago and talk about Carmelo Anthony and his Myras. Well, Carmelo Anthony has been spotted with a Myra. And Carmelo Anthony, who is in France with the Jordan brand team doing some brand ambassadorship, he was, let me break this down for you, B. First of all, this was Lala's birthday. So he's in France. She's not with him. He sent her this really, really sappy message on Instagram for her birthday. I got to find that because I don't know why I don't have that up. But at the same time he was doing this, paparazzi was out in the south of France getting photos on a yacht of Carmelo laying up with some beautiful chick. Now, there's photos of him laying probably about 2 feet away from her, laying next to her. It's just the two of them in the shot. There's some more where he's standing up and they're talking. There's another one where I think he's out on like a jet ski or something, and she's standing on the side of the boat watching him. Carmelo has been going at the blogs because he claims that the woman that he was with is just a friend, and her whole family, including her husband, were on that yacht. And it was, because he's on a business retreat, not some, some hot and heavy affair trip. So there's a lot of people out there who's not really banging with what Carmelo is saying, but here's some quotes from him. He said, I'm only really addressing this for my family. Keep my family out of this, man. Y'all trying to expose somebody's wife. Y'all exposing somebody's kids. Leave that alone, man. That ain't cool. And like I said earlier, he had said that the other woman was actually on the yacht with her husband, and that they were all on a business retreat, not some sordid seaborne liaison. I'm pretty sure those weren't Melo's words, but I want to ask you your thoughts, but you definitely have to see some of these photos to kind of form like these photos. And this is the chatty patty portion of our show, and we're probably breaking man law just by talking about it in the first place. But these photos, if you just look at a couple of them, okay, it's not like he wasn't caught kissing her, touching her, or anything like that. But you also like some of them, like the way they were laying up by themselves, how close they were to each other. Like you and my wife wouldn't be like laying up like that if we all went on because we've been on several cruises together. Like y'all weren't just chilling in the on the boat, laid up next to each other having a conversation. So it looks suspect. I don't know if Melo's telling the truth or not, but it definitely looks suspect. What's your thoughts on Melo and the Myras, man? Melo got to chill. He was just supposedly getting in good from the last affair that he got caught having. When Lala was supposed to be leaving him, like they supposed to be good now, and Melo,
Melo innocent, man, can't do it. Can't do it.
Free Melo ball,
innocent, man.
Free Melo Anthony.
Free Carmelo, Rubio, Montoya, Anthony, man. Free my man. Shout out to my Boring King. I don't know, man. You just got to be very careful of the optics in today's society. And a man in his position should understand that, the eye in the sky is always watching. The eye in the sky is always watching and looking. And he and Lala, because of who Lala is and because of who he is, and they live a very public life, man, there's people rooting for him to create gossip, for them to talk and get their chatty patty on, much like we're doing, but on a negative basis about him a lot because they don't have anything better to do. So a man in his position needs to be aware of that And if he is aware of it and he and Lala have talked and they're like, look, we really don't care what y'all saying. We know what it is, then cool.
The day after, Lala posted a photo of a knife stabbing a heart. Then she deleted it. So the subliminals have started. The subliminals have started.
Man down. Man down. Free Carmelo.
Yeah.
Man down.
I'm still trying to find I'm trying to find the worst optic of the whole thing. And it was the tweet. It was the birthday tweet from Melo. Oh, here it is. All right, so earlier in the day, Melo had tweeted, because like I said, it was her birthday and he wasn't home to celebrate it with her. He said, some of the most beautiful things worth having in your life come wrapped in a crown. Your heart is full of love and affection. Your hands are always caring. I am lucky to have you as a wife. Happy birthday, queen. I love you. At Lala, #stay mellow. And then a couple hours later, some dirty cameraman posted some photos of Melo laid up with some chick in the south of France. So the optics of that.
Melo. Free Melo.
We're not going to chat Pat this much longer because this is not really what we do. But
they
Melo,
man.
We hope y'all get that together, man. We hope y'all get that together. I hope Melo telling the truth.
Black family, black love, #.
You're looking shaky right now. You're looking a little shaky. All right. So your man Zion Williamson is already being sued for $100 million. He hasn't even gotten his first NBA check. He hasn't even signed a sneaker deal yet, but he is already being sued for $100 million. And let me tell you the story on this one. He's being sued for $100 million by a marketing company that says Zion broke his contract. Now, you know, this has started a back and forth between Zion, CAA, you know, Creative Artist Agency, and Prime Sports Marketing, because right after he declared for the NBA draft, he signed a marketing deal with Prime Sports. He was supposed to remain with them for at least 5 years, but instead he left them less than a month later to sign with CAA. I think CAA is actually the partner company, the parent company to Clutch Sports as well. You know, CAA, one of the biggest, you know, agencies.
Jay-Z's involved, I think,
CAA
too.
is those guys, pretty much. So he signed with them, broke his contract with the other company, and they had threatened to sue, prompting that he take action first. He, in turn, sued them, saying that his contract was unlawful in North Carolina. I don't even know the details of what he's saying was unlawful in the contract. But in response to that lawsuit, Prime Sports filed a lawsuit against him and CAA for $100 million because they're arguing that he broke his contract and that CAA interfered in the process. So Duke then already got, I mean, the Duke, a lot. Well, can you call him alum when you only went there for like four days of classes and the rest was basketball? Either way, Zion is already mixed up in the business side of all of this, the ugly side. What are your thoughts? Anything gonna come out of this? He did sign a contract. B? All right. I don't know what's going on with B. Hope it ain't technical difficulty.
No, speculation. Speculation moment. Speculation. He signed a contract with Homeboys Marketing because one of his relatives got Homeboys Marketing in front of him. And Homeboys Marketing took a legal Zoom contract to him, and he signed the legal Zoom joint. CAA had their attorneys take a look at it and said, hell no, get out of here. They don't got a leg to stand on. Don't even worry about it.
Sign with us.
In the meantime, Zion, you know, CAA, they had LeBron come through and they had Jay come through, and, you know, so he's not going to not sign with LeBron.
So, and Jay, that was already done. So Homeboy's marketing went and told Dewey Cheatham what happened, and Dewey Cheatham fired up the old sue machine, and what's going to happen is they're going to settle for 4% of the face value of the original lawsuit. So somebody's fitting to come up about $3 to $5 million on a settlement that CAA got. That's petty cash. They're going to just say, here, yo, take this $5 million and get out our face. Get out our face.
That's what I see happening. Some settlement where they just going to break them off a little bit of change, tell them to go about their way with their little tinker shop. Ultimately, CAA is going to benefit off this $100 million Nike deal this dude probably about to get. Popeyes was selling an 82-inch box of food to celebrate Zion being drafted. Yo, what's in an 82-inch box of food? And how much did that cost? And how much?
A lot of slave food.
Love that chicken from Popeyes. All right. Last but not least, while y'all were on the grind, the IOC, the Olympic Committee, the International Olympic Committee, were voting on Tuesday, and they voted in favor of a proposal that could bring breakdancing to the 2024 Summer Games in Paris. Now, when I saw this news, I saw a lot of people saying, it's about time, blah, 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 for the culture. But I don't really get it. Because when the hell did breakdancing become a sport? I know you got to be pretty athletic to do it. But when did breakdancing become a sport? I guess anything to get our culture on the front lines. But when the hell did breakdancing? I'd venture to say, don't know black people in hip hop breakdance no more anyway. That culture been taken. Yeah. Only Spanish boys and Asians do that now. But I was about to say, I think it's like a Latino Asian thing right now. They don't want B-boys jumping down on the cardboard and spinning on their heads.
At the end of the day, there is a competitive element to the three elements of hip hop, which are MCing, DJing, and breakdancing, B-boys. So technically, I can see where they have a grounds to stand on because it is competitive. But I'm gonna keep it funky as a child of hip hop. Yo, I ain't trying to see nobody win a gold medal for doing a handstand.
6 minutes back in you're on. I don't like.
Yo, man, this is our culture, man. Why you laughing, man?
It's gonna be like the floor routine in gymnastics. Like they're gonna go out there, get their dance on.
Rock and drop it.
And then they're gonna stop when it's over, look up at the board, and wait for their score to pop up. Like, this is weird to me. But shout out to it. I'm not saying that I won't, take a couple of minutes out of my time. Shoot, we might be there. But still, if we end up in Paris in 2024, I'm not sure if I'm gonna be, trying to buy tickets or use credentials to get into the breakdancing venue. What they gonna do for music? Everybody got to dance to the same song. You gonna pick your own song? They're gonna have some Slick Rick and Dougie Fresh. Like, how they gonna do this? This is interesting. But
to be honest with you, the French definitely has something to do with this because they love hip hop. I mean, the whole world loves hip hop, but the French, like, they're into their b-boying. Like, it's a thing. They get their street dance on in Paris. I can see a lot of support from the host country for this.
Yeah. All right. Well, break dancing.
Yo, you not trying to fresh kid Ike.
You were on his
phone.
Yeah.
Crazy, right?
And then they do this, like after like Turbo and Ozone are like old men. Like, that's not fair. Are they gonna be judges? Like, what we doing here? Electric Boogaloo at the Olympics. All right, so real quick, man, some birthday shout outs. Let's to these birthdays for this week, and we want to give a quick shout out to Jim Edmonds, who turns 49 years old. Yo, I swear, I'm getting old. Jim Edmonds is already 49 years old. Chuck Person, the rifleman, is 55 years old. Chuck Person never met a shot that he did not like. So shout out to Chucky on his 55th birthday. And former Philadelphia Eagles offensive coordinator Brad Childress, he turned 63 years old. So we like to give a big war room salute to all of these folks on their birthday and their birthday week. Salute! And one more time before we get into some NBA rap, y'all know the drill. Y'all can check out our website, warroomsports.com. When you're there, don't just click on it. Like, these guys told me to go to the website. Let me go see what's up with the website. Stay for a while. Click on everything. See what's up. Hey, you can come back and tell us some things that we haven't updated that we need to update. I can think of a few right now. But if they come from you guys, that means, that tells us that you were on there and you were looking around and you were interested in what was going on. So check out the website. But if you want to call us right now and speak with us about any NBA topic, because we're about to go hoops heavy for the rest of the time we have, y'all know the drill. Give us a call, 323-410-0012. Press 1 when prompted. But if you're already listening from your phone, just press 1 if you want to talk. All right, now. Is Curtis Blow gonna be a judge in the Olympics?
Speaking of breakdancing in the Olympics.
I know. And I forgot to tell y'all who basketball was brought to you by. Of course, that's Digital Extreme Technologies. Do you and your business need a custom website? Well, because I know you do, because I've seen some of your websites. For dynamic, professional, and most of all, affordable custom website solutions, you need Digital Extreme Technologies. No need to break the bank for an effective online presence. Top quality, results-driven websites at incredibly affordable prices. And even if you can't afford our incredibly affordable prices from our partner, financing options are available. So just visit digitalextremetech.com or call 267-205-4203. Again, that is 267-205-4203. And for discounted rates, be sure to tell them that the homies over at War Room Sports sent you. All right, man. The rumor mill has been going. The Woj bombs have been dropping. And, NBA free agency is on the horizon. Starts this Sunday. So there's something different every day. There's a front runner for this guy on Tuesday, and then there's a new front runner for the same guy on Wednesday. Let's talk about Kemba Walker real quick, because the new front runner to land Kemba Walker, who, in my opinion, was going nowhere. He's going to get that big money from Charlotte, but the rumor mill is now saying that the Celtics are the front runner for his services. Now, can you see a Kemba mix in Boston? Because Boston, man, the interesting thing about them was this time last year, people are talking about Boston as if they're going to run a Boston in the East for the next 8 years. Now, a year later, we're talking about Boston rebuilding. We're talking about Kyrie Irving potentially leaving. Seems like it's, a done deal that he's leaving. We just don't know where he's going. Al Horford leaving. Scary Terry, he done opened his mouth and talked about the situation, how he didn't want to play there anymore because of the whole Kyrie situation. He might have spoke too soon. That might have been his team if he'd have just shut up and let Kyrie leave. Now, if Kemba comes, then he's going to be in the same position. So he's probably leaving. So, what was once considered the best team in the East, the favorites in the East, a team that could have won the NBA Finals, is now being seen as kind of a rebuild, if not rebuild, a type situation. So what's your thoughts on Kemba Walker to the Celtics? I mean, we've seen point guards thrive, scoring point guards thrive in their system for the last couple seasons. What's your thoughts on Kemba following up what Isaiah Thomas and Kyrie Irving did in the Celtics green?
One last point with the Celtics before I dive headlong into Kemba. Al Horford is leaving, and I know that's not a big deal in terms of the stats, but Al Horford was a big glue guy for them.
Yeah, he's their guy. Defense. He can score when you need it. Hey, he can lock down Joel Embiid. It seems like there's only two players in the NBA that can do that, and that's Al Horford and Marc Gasol. So having one of those guys on your team, especially in the East, is a big advantage, if you got to go against a team like Philly. Boston was banking on that.
If you recall what you said about Kyle Kuzma, what Kyle Kuzma does, it's not that it's not impressive in a sense, but there are quite a number of 6'5" to 6'10" guys that can score the ball. To a lesser extent, there's a lot of guards out there that can give them a 1-4 flat and just go. In fact, the majority of guards in the NBA, 1-4 flat, just go. Or pick and roll, read the pick and roll. In Kemba's case, while he does read it very, very well, most of his reads end up with him shooting. I don't want to say it's a dime a dozen, but it's not hard to find. And I'm a Kemba guy. Like, I've always been a Kemba Walker supporter and fan because while scoring is, something that most NBA players can do, at the end of the game, they don't count up rebounds, assists, steals, or blocks. They count up points, and he puts up points. I just don't feel like he's a guy that makes your franchise a contending franchise. I don't even know that he alone makes you a playoff franchise. So then the question gets asked, if Kyrie's gone, Horford's gone, can Kemba, Gordon Hayward, Tatum, and whoever else is left create a winning culture in Boston? I don't know, man. I don't know. Let me ask you this. Kemba Walker or Isaiah Thomas? Isaiah in his prime. Young Isaiah, not real Isaiah. Who would you rather have?
Between Isaiah and Kemba?
Yes, sir.
That's what you asking me? I think I definitely would rather have Kemba Walker. Like, Isaiah Thomas didn't prove to me that he can do that on a consistent basis. You know what I mean? It was unfortunate that after he did burn the league up like that, he got injured. And it seemed like the injury kind of derailed the trajectory that his career had started to go on. Like, that dude almost averaged 30 a game with the Celtics that season. He was a little fake AI, but he's never done it again. That's the hard part, duplicating, creating a feat once.
I don't think the fact that he hasn't done it again, I don't know how impactful the injury is or whether he's returned from it, but with a guy of his size and stature, he's even smaller than Kemba. I mean, I can at least give Kemba 5'11", 6 feet. Isaiah Thomas like 5'4", 5'5". So I think he's 5'6". But he's the type of dude a coach and a GM have to buy into what he is and what he does and build a team and say, this is what we're committing to. I don't think Isaiah has fallen off to the point where he can't give you 23 a game. I just think there's no coach or GM that wants that. Nobody wants that. I'm not building a team around this dude, man. So, that's the thing. We're talking about Kemba. My question is, does Kemba and Gordon Hayward equal wins with what Boston can field? I don't think so. So he better stay his ass in Charlotte and get that big break.
You got Tatum, Brown. You still have that young core, and they're going to have to prove again that they can do what they did the year that Kyrie and Gordon Hayward were out, but at the same time, we have to reiterate that Al Horford was a big factor in what they did that year. As a matter of fact, he was an all-star that year because, when it comes to Al Horford, like you said, you can't just look at statistics alone to kind of gauge his impact on an NBA game. Yeah. Interesting situation there. So we'll see. Because like I said, right now he said that Kemba Walker the Celtics are the front runners to land Kemba. I'm still of the opinion that Kemba's going to stay put and maximize his dollars, but we shall see. His name has been spread around. Celtics, Lakers, teams of that nature. All right, so speaking of the Lakers reportedly really want Kyrie Irving to sign with the Brooklyn Nets because they're interested in bringing back D'Angelo Russell. So they know if the Nets show that interest in Kyrie, return the interest to the Nets and sign there, that D'Angelo Russell would definitely be fully on the market, and they're interested in bringing him back to play alongside LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and Kyle Kuzma. Speaking of that situation, Anthony Davis did end up waiving because of I don't know if you heard, B, because you didn't talk to us last week. The Lakers kind of botched the trade, even though, they ended up with their guy. They got Anthony Davis. But the timing of the trade cost them a little bit of cap room. If they would have made the trade a little bit later, they would have saved some money and had enough under the cap to try to entice a third big-name star to sign there. Now, Anthony Davis held the cards for the last week, and he ended up putting his cards all in on the table because he had a $4 million trade kicker. He waived it. The Lakers got that extra money, and they're around $32 million of cap space now, which gives them the opportunity to go and get another max guy, maybe like a D'Angelo Russell, a Kemba, a Kyrie, somebody to run with LeBron and Anthony Davis. Kawhi, because his name is surfaced back into the mix. The Clippers and Raptors are supposed to be the front runners for his services, but I hear he will take a meeting with the Lakers when he goes out to take a meeting with the Clippers. Now, y'all know how I feel about that kind of stuff, man. Kawhi, even after you've done everything you've done and all the respect that you've earned this past season, if you go out there and join LeBron James and Anthony Davis, I will put him in the same mix that I put Kevin Durant for doing what he did for that would hurt to see. That would hurt to see. But the Lakers are optimistic, and they think that they might be able to make it happen because LeBron reportedly is recruiting Kawhi with the utmost of vigor. So we'll see how that plays out. But the Lakers, though, the reason that they wanted that cap space was to entice a third big-name superstar, another max player. But do you think that's the right way to build this team? You got LeBron James. You have Anthony Davis. You have a Kyle Kuzma there. You don't have much else on the roster. They just traded away two more of their young players just to help, round out this $32 million in salary because they got 4 back from Anthony Davis. They had to get a little bit more from trading Mo Wagner and somebody else to the Wizards. Is this the way to go about it, though? Like, blow all of that money
Absolutely.
contract? Or would they be better served to throw in some mid-level type guys, some low-level defenders, shooters, 3-and-D guys, and make yourself a more deep team rather than top-heavy that you're kind of dependent on 3 dudes to stay completely healthy to make everything work, or you get a little bit more depth and
I'm
all
gonna tell
around
you what they need. I'm going to tell you what they need, and perhaps you can look into an understanding of what they're worth in the open market and also their contract situation. The Lakers, as presently constituted, are going to rely on LeBron James 1, Anthony Davis 2, King Kuzma 3, right now. King Kuzma 3, they're trying to change that. What they need with LeBron is a sharpshooter. And I'll throw 3 names out in 3 different level of guy. Klay Thompson. We know he's not going anywhere, but Klay Thompson would be ideal. Second to Klay would be Bradley Beal. Third would be J.J. Redick, if you can get him. Fourth, as a wild card, because he's not coming, and I think the Bucks are going to max him out, would be Chris Middleton. Those are the 4 players that fit the mold of what the Lakers need. A guy whose game is predicated and based on shooting, particularly spot-up shooting, but can do a little bit more than just shoot, can defend, can maybe get to the rack every now and again, but is definitely a floor spacer at his core.
Right.
J.J. Redick seems like the only guy that they could really get. I don't think any of these other guys are really available. They'd have to trade for Bradley Beal. I don't know that they have anything that the Wizards would want other than Kuzma and every first-round draft pick for the next 4 years. So I don't think that's realistic. Klay ain't leaving. And I've heard, and maybe you can corroborate this, I don't know this to be fact, but Chris Middleton is a max-level player. So he ain't leaving. The Bucks are going to give him 190.
Yeah, I'm about to say, in today's NBA, you got to do is make an all-star team.
Chris Middleton, $190 million, and let Malcolm Brogdon, they're going to tell Malcolm Brogdon, listen, hey, little homie, figure it out. They're going to pay Chris until Malcolm figures it out. So Malcolm's in the middle.
Yeah, Malcolm's still on that rookie contract. So he got a minute. Or from Lakers camp, also LeBron has quote unquote gifted Anthony Davis the number 23. So LeBron James will be switching jerseys next year. So it's easy to see who's going to lead the league in jersey sales next season, because LeBron's going to be wearing a different number in the purple and gold. Everybody's assuming he's going to go back to 6, but he's on chapter 3,
number 24,
chapter 4 of his career. He might.
We're number 8 and number 24.
That's not in that uniform, he ain't. But somebody said he might come out with 45. Since this summer he is doing Space Jam, and he did have the pickup game court built like Mike did for Space Jam. I think this is at that dude's house. What's his name? Jimmy Goldstein. What's his last name?
Yeah, I know you're talking about.
Yeah, the rich dude.
That dude.
He was sitting in the front row of Lakers and Clippers games all the time, and games all around the NBA. It was interesting. I looked dude up recently, and everybody assumed he's a Lakers fan, but he's not a Lakers fan. He said he goes there every night, sits in the front row to hate on the Lakers. He said he's more of a Clippers fan, but he's an NBA fan first. So it was interesting because everybody's score was like Jack, and dude, and a couple other people as Lakers super fans, but dude sit in the front row every night just to hate. So yeah, LeBron's giving up his number. Think that had anything to do with Anthony Davis waving his trade kicker? LeBron
LeBron is a funny dude, man. LeBron is a funny dude, man. He's a funny dude. He's gonna try and wear 8 or 24, but I don't know who these guys are going to go and get. They need shooting in the worst way. They don't need another ball handler. They don't need Kemba does what Kemba would be in the way. to Kyrie's credit, Kyrie is a ball-dominant slasher whose secondary offensive skill is shooting and happens to shoot. His secondary skill is better than a lot of guys' primary skill. Like, he happens to be able to shoot so well that he's able to take that role, but that's not really – there's not a lot of guys that can do that. There's not a lot of guys that are that good as a shooter that can just say, all right, well, I'm not going to dominate the ball. I'm just going to spot up and bring the ball up every now and again. So I don't know who they go and get. I don't know who they go and get.
They're trying to go and get Kawhi, but you're talking if they went lower level guys, which they should. Yeah, I feel you.
JJ Redick.
We got the homie Naj calling in from Georgia. See what he thinks about all of this. Naj, what's going on, good brother?
Oh, what up, man? I'm good, man. How y'all?
Naj, what's good?
You been listening to the rumor mill and catching the Woj bombs and all of the crap going on pre-free agency?
Right. I want to add something to that, man, and just think about how we talk about things nowadays. Like say you and your partner went somewhere and somebody fell, like y'all had a little funny incident happen when y'all went out, like somebody fell or something, you know, in a prominent place where everybody got to laugh at them. Now, when your homeboy told that story the next week, you know, you put a little sauce on it. Hey, he had a drink in his hand, or, you know what I mean? The details start coming in. You start adding stuff to make the story better. So you fictionalize things. Now we're to the point to where we prefer the fiction and we tell stories and then discuss them in that way. So all the talk about, the Lakers free agents, they're not going to be able to get nobody to go to L.A. and, you know, LeBron can't win in the West. Just weird narratives that we tell nowadays based on the story being more, you know what I'm saying, appetizing to people if you tell it in that way. And when you know what I'm saying, like when you hear a lot of stories come out or read a lot of stories every day, some of it's clickbait, and then some of it is we like the story with a little more seasoning on it, man. And that's where we are right now. So all of this stuff is weird to hear. Like Anthony Davis, before the trade was completed, Vegas dropped the odds from 12-1 to 4-1 for the Lakers winning the chip. Because Vegas is about their money. They're not about rumors and all that other stuff. So, yeah, sensible thing, fill out the roster with mid-level guys and a few, you know, minimum salary guys. And you already got 3 people who are going to need the ball in their hand as is, so that's the obvious solution. The idea that they would go after a max player with what they have left is ridiculous and puts them in the same situation Golden State was last year where you're putting way too many minutes on guys and you're going to wear them out and you can end up just dooming the whole little last 3 years just because of usage. As you know, we talked about this a couple weeks ago. The NBA is different now. It's a leg game. People get worn out. And honestly, Max and Clay sounds like a bad idea. Clay looking like a used Toyota from '95. As great as Clay has been, that is a lot of playoff minutes on Clay, Steph, Dre, like all these guys. And going forward, to think that the trajectory is going to go up, I'm not too sure about that, man. And think about the usage Steph is going to have to take next year to keep them in contention until everybody can get back healthy. You see what I'm saying?
Everybody comes back healthy. Here's the thing. The thing, though. Now, I agree with you. But where Clay is concerned, when you make him the third option on a team, if you brought him to L.A., you'd have to pay him the max because of who he is and what he's done. But he'd still be in a position where he's not seeing much double team-wise, and he's getting open looks, and he only got touched the ball 90 seconds out of the game to get 35 points.
Yeah, but he's going to be your primary wing defender because you damn sure ain't putting Bron on anybody on the wing as a stopper anymore. Like those days are gone. So you see what I'm saying? Like I just think people aren't putting that stuff into the calculus when they're thinking about these things long term, man. Because these minutes matter, and until they shorten the season, the NBA season is a grind, man, and guys are not going to be the same come playoff time. So I'm with you on that, though, man. But this Anthony Davis thing reminds me of the Kevin Garnett days. Kevin Garnett was on a bad team, horribly managed, and people said, oh, well, they ain't made out the first round since they made it to the Western Finals. Therefore, Kevin Garnett is not good. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, Boston's going to be a favorite. I won some money that year. But Anthony Davis is that damn good, and LeBron is going to try to force feed that dude to get the MVP. And I can't believe people don't see this coming.
Mm-hmm. It makes sense. I mean, it's already started. Dude and gave him his number. You can see the push starting already.
And, of course, passive-aggressive Bron has to fix relationships with teammates and show that he's not a dude who will talk to the front office about trading you behind your back and kind of clean things up. And, you know, Kuzma's probably going to make a leap because he's going to play stretch 4. And, look, the shots are going to be there for him, so that's going to be real good for him. So, you know, I don't know, man. I like what the Lakers are doing. Hopefully they don't go the dumb route on that. But either way, they're a championship contender because of Anthony Davis, not because of LeBron James. Now, that's hard for some people to swallow, but that's what we're talking about here. That's how damn good that kid is. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but
he's still young. People forget how young that dude is.
Right. And the Kimba stuff y'all hit on earlier was the Kimba stuff y'all hit on earlier was 100%, man. As good as he is, yeah, you can make the comparison to Lil Isaiah. If you give him extreme usage, he can be an all-NBA player, but he's not really that. You know what I mean? It has to be system-based to make him an all-NBA guy. But he's a good player, fringe all-star. You look up the numbers last year, he had, look up his shooting percentage and numbers when Cody Zeller was on the court. Why? Because Cody Zeller's big as hell, and he sets hard screens, and Kimba would play better off of those, got better shots. But that's what we're talking about. A guy like that will determine how much better, you know, he is or isn't. When you're talking about the guys who should max out, that kind of stuff doesn't matter for them as much. So that's where I would go with y'all on the Kimba thing.
No doubt.
I want to see Kimba end up with Antony so he can average 34 a game. They're not going to win nothing, but, you know, he would average about 34 a game playing for Antony.
Well, speaking of Antony,
and what the hell are they trying to get Jimmy? What the hell is that?
Yeah, the Rockets are trying to Brody a trade for a sign and trade for Jimmy Butler. So they're trying to, entice him to go to the Sixers if he wants to play there. They want to entice him to go to the Sixers and tell them, like, look, you can do this sign and trade with Houston, or you can lose me for nothing. And Houston is willing to let go of a Clint Capella. Any two of the three, Clint Capella, Eric Gordon, and what's the dude that y'all be saying hit threes, but he only hit threes when I look away from the TV? PJ Tucker. I can no longer say I've hit a three, but I can really say I've only seen dude hit like 2 or 3 threes. I swear every time I doze off, go for a snack, go to the bathroom, is when dude does his work from the arc, because people talk about how much of a threat he is. And I look at his numbers and see that, you know, statistically he's a threat, but I never see this dude hit threes. I swear he waits till I get up or fall asleep.
Right.
Butler,
can we give you these guys we don't want for the guy you want? Like, it makes no sense. Philly's going to give Jimmy the Supermax, and it's done. Like, it's going to be over.
Gordon would be a good fit in Philly if JJ left, but no, if Jimmy, you know, if we can offer Jimmy the max and he stays, then we don't want your Eric Gordon, your PJ Tuckers, or your Clint Capellas. And how would that work in Houston? Like, Chris Paul and James Harden, by all accounts, might not be true, but they can't really get along. And even if they do get along, you can see when they play that Chris Paul just sits out there and watches Harden go to work. How is adding another ISO / pick and roll player mix? How's that going to work?
Jimmy, first of all, Jimmy's going to walk in the locker room and he's going to punch Harden in the face. And Harden not going to do nothing. And he's going to punch Chris Paul, and Chris Paul got a little man complex. So even though Jimmy's going to get the best of Chris Paul going to go into the training room and get like a piece of ice or a table and throw it over Jimmy's head, then they're going to be rumbling. That's just not going to work. Like, and I see Jimmy beating them both up, and then it's going to be a problem because they're not going. Harden is kind of, he's a little bit with the Drake generation. So Harden might cry. And Chris Paul comes from, our generation. So every day, Chris Paul is the type of dude that's like, yo, you beat me yesterday, but I'm going to fight you every day until I win. And if I don't win, then we just going to fight every day of the year. So that's not going to work. And Jimmy's with it. Jimmy's with the shits. Like, he likes that type of stuff. Yo, why would we bring him into the locker room?
But
he
Jimmy's with
that.
the shit's head. Jimmy's with the shit's head up. Chris Paul will catch you coming
Yo,
out of the
head up.
shower. Chris Paul will catch you walking to your vehicle. Like any type of sneaky Chris Paul action. But this goes to show you about Daryl Morey, who's been running a statistic number man, I'm smarter than everybody con game to keep that job. All he looks at is X's and O's, ones and zeros on the board. He doesn't think about people, relationships, or chemistry. So even the idea of bringing Jimmy into that locker room, like, no, he's cut from a different cloth from those guys. They do not need to be together. And like I said, all of this talk is nonsense because Philly's going to give Jimmy everything he wants. He's going to be a beloved figure in Philly, all that rugged Philly stuff that people talk about. The question with Philly is Ben Simmons going to be able to handle the pressure? Because Jimmy just got here last year. That pressure is going to start to come from inside that locker room, and I can see Embiid starting to side with Jimmy to the point where they start talking about Ben's development, and that he, I think, would be the one who's got to go if somebody has to go. But I don't think it's Jimmy, man. That playoff run, that's something Philly fans are gonna love, man.
I'm gonna hurt some of our fan base, including you. I think that Ben Simmons is out of here. I think he's gonna follow the way of the Kardashians.
Yeah, I mean, I think when it's his time to go, I kind of think he would be done with us too. I mean, he's gonna go over there. LeBron gonna recruit him to be his successor. He get to go over there and chase Kendall around some more because she break up with him every 3 weeks. I always look at it that way too. I think when he gets his chance, he gonna be out. Especially like I said, if they bring back a Jimmy and Jimmy's always the playoff hero, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, he might end up rolling out. I agree with that. All right, but Nas, thanks for your call, man. You know we about to get up out of here. So we appreciate it as usual. All right. We holler at you next week.
All right, brother.
All right.
All right. So yeah, they're trying to strong arm the Sixers. If they can get in Jimmy's ear, then it's gonna have to happen because the Sixers not gonna want to lose him for nothing. But I hope it don't happen. I like as. I'm not even gonna say down. We weren't down on Jimmy, but for a while we were like, all right, Jimmy is not what he was advertised to be. But we realized he was just taking a step back, getting his load management on into the playoffs, letting things fall where they will. In the playoffs, Jimmy became a different dude. And
playoff Jimmy.
Playoff Jimmy.
Butler.
He definitely became a different dude in playoffs, and I think we need that dude back. I would like to just run it back because I still think that the Sixers, with the talent they had last year, could have won the East. You know what I'm saying? But with another year of experience, we get to run that back. I don't know if Kawhi is going to leave or not, but Kawhi being in Toronto or not, I think they would have a great chance, if healthy, to win the East. But it's time for us to get up out of here. We'd like to thank you, brothers and sisters, for joining us for another briefing in the War Room. Shout out to everybody in the chat room on Facebook, Twitter, War Room Sports Game Time on GroupMe app, and all the callers who called in to holler at us. Tune in next week, live right here on demand, as we catch you up on everything happening around the world of sports. So until then, make sure you enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the start of next week, and we'll see you guys right back here next time. Same bat place, same bat channel. Be sure to catch our conversations on Facebook and Twitter, as well as our blogs, webcasts, and network podcasts on warroomsports.com. Also, make sure you pick up a copy of Jimmy's book at sportsthebook.com or warroomsports.com. Until next time, everybody, don't accept mediocrity. Be steadfast in the war against ignorance. We'll see you chunks next time. Peace.
War Room Sports. Y'all ready? B. Austin, Bay on replay. WarRoomSports.com. Get that mobile app. If not, dial 323-140012. They be going and you sensitive, then oh well. Physical podcast, let's talk sports. Showtime like magic in the block push. Listen live, push one to join in. Rip your team or listen for your enjoyment. Hip hop scholars, pit stop and knowledge. Should be in sports credits, I ain't talking college. 5 guys, no beef though. Corporate secret, but the streets know. Belafonte, I got a G flow. KC, royalty, I'm in beast mode. 2 hours, get your game up. Who's the best in sportscast? You better name us. War Room Sports. Yeah, you know, Jimmy, Dev, TJ, Shot Back, the Officer. I'm shot. Up and coming on the beat.
War Room Sports, www.warroomsports.com. What? Ain't no more to it.